What? Thank you for joining. So hello everyone. Thank you for joining our, I would say, amazing talk from All to Goal. Upgrade as an opportunity to unleash business process potential. So first we will go through our agenda, starting by the presentations of ourselves. First, our valued customer Realco, our gold partner and great partner EasyIT, and myself working at the vendor Odoo. Then Toussaint will going to tell you what we're going to learn today. Then we'll deepen a little bit more into our subject through Q&A. Toussaint is going to explain you the plugin strategy, and then we will summarize with a conclusion. Just here, I don't know if you can access it, there is the QR code for the questions you will have that you can put on the pad. So, yeah, if needed. Okay, let's start. Marc, I will let you present Realco.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Marc Dutrieux. I'm in charge of ICT at Realco, which is a Belgian-based company where we produce, design, develop, produce and distribute hygiene products based on green chemistry. So these products are mainly based on enzymes and bacteria instead of chemical products. And our main market segments include the food industry, as you see there, catering services, healthcare, where we have even a specific division to serve, and also home and general consumers to our eSIM brand. And our markets are situated here in Europe, but also in the US and in Asia, mainly.
Okay, EasyIT.
So hello everybody, so I'm Toussaint, I'm an analyst at EasyIT. So EasyIT has been a gold partner of Odoo since 2010. We focus on optimizing business processes through the implementation of Odoo. So we implement Odoo, but also we support our customers over the long term. You can see on the slide some of our references. So we have experience in all business areas, but we are really strong in the retail and distribution sector, with successful implementation at G&Joy, for example, at Baobab, the beautiful candles, and also we are currently working on the implementation of Dream Baby and Bike Republic. So we are very strong in the retail and distribution sector, and with the multi-channel strategy also. So, voilà. This is for EasyIT.
Okay, and so myself, nice to meet you. And so I'm key account manager at Odoo for nearly 3 years now, working in the indirect department. So at Odoo you have both direct and indirect department, and the indirect department focuses on clients who are working with integrators, Odoo integrators. And so my job is actually to handle the clients of the key partners at Odoo, and I'm working on the Belgian market. Okay.
So what are you going to learn during this presentation? First of all, the importance of system maintenance. What is involved in maintaining software like Odoo? Okay. You will secondly learn how to approach custom development. What is the right balance between standard and custom features? Can you do everything in standard? What are the tips and tricks you should know when you approach custom development? And last but not least, a real-world experience and insight on the customer, which is Realco. Realco started on version 6 and is now on version 13 and about to upgrade on version 16 next month. So it's an amazing experience, an amazing journey, full of lessons learned. So I would like to share that with you. So let's get started for the Q&A. And the first question will be for Emily. So what are different aspects of an upgrade?
Yeah, so in an upgrade there are different steps. Yeah, better with the slide. So the upgrade scripts are different things. So actually we always have to wait, the partners always have to wait that the upgrade scripts are available. So here, for example, in V17, for new implementations, for new databases, the V17 is already available. But for the migration scripts, the partners will have to wait until, as Fabien said yesterday, until January. And so how does it work? So the partner is going to send the instance who has to upgrade to the latest versions to Odoo, and they will actually upgrading existing data such as customer needs, product info, transaction history to the Odoo latest versions. So this involves data mapping, data accuracy, data cleaning. So that's it. And then it comes to specific developments. And that is actually the job of the partner. So they will have to upgrade the specific modules and the customizations and adapt them to the latest versions. And there is also to see if now what actually they customized in the previous version, if now it's native at Odoo or not. So, and also see if they will have to upgrade it to the latest versions. Then there is also a real job for the partner to challenge the client and to do a business process analysis. So review actually existing business processes and workflows. And it's really the opportunity to do improvements, so to actually streamline the workflows of the clients. Then there is a big part of testing. This is a real important part, actually before going live, to avoid any bugs or issues. And then of course the user training, it's really important because there will be changes to train the staff of the client to the new features of the latest versions. So, okay, now let's go into our subject. Marc, I suggest we start by explaining to our audience that you are actually a long-time customer who took on the challenge by starting with Odoo, formerly OpenERP, when we were on version 6. So can you tell us how did that go?
Yeah, that's true. So our history with Odoo goes back to 2011 when we decided to go with OpenERP at that time, OpenERP version 6. So our objective was to replace a number of different systems we had by one integrated ERP platform. And so we looked at a number of alternatives in the market. Of course, they were the big guys, meaning the very expensive and well-known SAP and Microsoft of this world. But we settled on OpenERP for three main reasons. The first one was that it was a fully web-based technology, and I thought that it was really important to secure the future of that platform. The second one was that it was open source with already a quite vibrant ecosystem, a number of partners. So there were already in 2011 quite a few partners around there to help us and to support possible future upgrades and developments if necessary. And the third element, of course, was the price. And so all that convinced us to embark in OpenERP. That choice may sound obvious today, but at that time it was certainly not. And actually version 6 lacked a number of very important features for us. And for example, all the stock keeping and production features were not really at the level that were necessary to support our production. So we had to develop quite a few functions ourselves, or with a partner we had at that time. And for example, we developed almost completely a stock management module running with handheld scanners and barcodes. So that was quite a huge development. And it's only after a number of years, and I must also say that a number of the existing modules in version 6 were not totally functional, so we had to patch a bit of those. Unfortunately, that does not happen anymore these days. So we did all that. We migrated. It was a bit long and difficult, but okay, it went finally quite well. And after a number of years, we realized that with all those custom developments, it was not going to be that easy to migrate from version 6 to a newer version. So for a number of years, we have been on the waiting pad and say, okay, well, no, we will not migrate, for example, to version 8 or to version 9. We had also other priorities as well, as you always have in a company. And so it's only, and I need to check my notes here, it was only in 2019 that we decided to upgrade to version 13, and we selected also at that moment EasyIT as a new integrator.
Okay, perfect. So actually it seems that the migration was quite complex, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you just said it, you started at this time working with EasyIT, so maybe Toussaint, can you tell us actually what were the reasons for the complexity of the V6, V13 upgrades?
Yes, of course. So the first element was that the environment of Realco was full of heavy customizations. So it was difficult for us to get to know the code, to understand the business objective, and to migrate all the custom code. Second element was the large gap between Odoo standard version 6 and version 13. It's a gap of 7 versions, so everything has changed, both technically and functionally. The database structure, the user flows, the programming technology also has changed. For instance, the invoice were merged with the accounting entries. The contacts were merged with the companies in a single table, partner table. So this makes even more complicated project. And another important element is that because the first project of implementation in V6 was quite difficult and long, the user were more distrustful than enthusiastic about this new project. So it was much more difficult for us to challenge the need, to understand the need, and so it was more difficult for that as well. And lastly, there have been some external factors that also makes it more difficult. A fire destroyed the production hall of Realco, so Realco couldn't produce anymore its product. They had to subcontract all the productions on the fly, and we had to define all the processes in Odoo completely during the upgrade project. There were also COVID arising during the project, with impact on the priorities, and also that caused delays. And finally, there has been also a seasonality factor that forced us to upgrade before the end of the testing phase. So we had to shorten the testing phase to be able to migrate before a very high business season. So that was definitely not a good idea, but we hadn't the choice. So this is an advice for everybody: do not shorten the test phase. It's really important to do the test before going live. So to conclude, on this project from V16 to V13, it was really long and difficult. But at the end, we are proud to have worked with Realco on this project and complete the V13 migration. And the most important is that EasyIT is now committed to supporting the customer over the long term and contributing to improve their business processes.
Okay. And you, Marc, now that you are actually in the project of an upgrade from V13 to V16, from a client perspective, what are the lessons learned?
Yeah, well, we definitely learned a lot in this migration from V6 to V13, and we are trying to apply those lessons now in the current migration. So beyond what Toussaint explained about the difficult circumstances of that V6 to V13 migration, there are different points we think are especially important. The first one is to build a very strong relationship between the client, between us and our partner, EasyIT. We expect the partner to bring to the table not only the technical expertise about Odoo, but also to be a bit of a subject matter expert in a number of functional areas, and especially the functional areas that are important for us, such as production, stock keeping, logistics, etc. So the relationship with the integrator is definitely very important. The second aspect, that we have learned the very hard way, is to stick as much as possible to the standard Odoo processes. It was quite difficult and costly to migrate all this, or part of this custom code we had developed for V6 to V13, and some of that was not even necessary. We also at that time were not strict enough with some of our own users, and they were asking for things, that they were finding very nice to have, but all that had an impact in terms of the complexity and the importance of the code to be migrated. So if not necessary, try to stick to the standard. A third lesson is to stick to the best practices that Odoo puts forward, i.e. migrate every 3 years maximum. So Odoo, in the context of the enterprise license, keeps maintaining a product and supporting a product, for example, with security updates and free support, etc., during 3 years. Waiting more than 3 years to upgrade to a next version creates an unnecessary exposure, and the functional gap between the two versions becomes too big and creates, obviously, some migration difficulties. So migrating every 2 to 3 years is definitely a good thing. And then last but not least, in terms of lesson, as in every IT project or every important project involving a lot of people in the company, it's really important to have the buy-in of the top management of the company and make sure that the key users that are involved in the project are available and committed to making it a success.
Okay. So if I understand correctly, it's now 3 years that you are in the version 13. And if I'm not mistaken, in about 1 month, you're going to be on V16. So what were actually your expectations for this upgrade?
Yeah. So we put to ourselves 3 main objectives for this V16 upgrade. The first one was clearly, because of the lessons I just talked about, was to revert as much as possible to the Odoo standard. So we took all the customizations that were made and challenged them one by one to make sure that there was still a business requirement to keep that custom development. There were some developments that were not necessary anymore because the functionality was now standard, or was now standard in V16, and some other customizations that were just luxury of nice to have, but that were not really important or really necessary, so we decided to drop. And of course there were still some things that we decided then to port from V13 to V16. The second objective, quite obviously too, is to take advantage of the new and improved features of V16. But there we made a split between some improved features that we will benefit from or that we'll take on board during the upgrade project, and others that we just keep for later, just not to disturb the upgrade project, but we'll do that later. For example, we are interested to implement the field service module. We want to launch e-commerce module, so to launch a web shop later, but that's definitely not part of the upgrade project. And then the third objective, which is important, is just as Toussaint alluded to, with version 13, because the migration was not that easy, users were not that enthusiastic, and there is a kind of bad memory of that migration. And so it was really important for this one that migration would be smooth, would be very well run, that we stick to the dates we have communicated for the project, and we will definitely migrate on the 4th of December, so in less than a month from now. And so the fact that that objective to make our users happy is really important, because Odoo is the main tool they are using day in, day out. So it's really important that they like the tool, that they're happy with it, that it goes flawlessly and as smoothly as possible. So they were our expectations and our objectives.
Yes, so you mentioned the importance of sticking to the standard, and this is a point that's really interests us as well. So maybe you can maybe elaborate on the importance of adhering to the standard of Odoo.
Yeah, of course. As Marc and Toussaint said it before, sticking to the standard actually provides significant advantages. Firstly, the simplicity of the updates. Of course, when you stick to the standard and you are in the best world, 100% standard, the updates are easier and faster. So you gain access to the latest features of Odoo, the security patches, the latest improvements, without actually the need to readapt heavy customizations with each upgrade. Then the support and maintenance, as you may know, this is part of your enterprise contract. Odoo supports always the 3 latest versions of Odoo, and then you have free support to the native adaptments. So it is actually essential to stick to the standard for promptly resolving technical issues and actually ensuring the continuity of your internal processes. And then the total cost of ownership, of course, because heavily customized instances lead to actually high maintenance costs. So when you stick to the standard, you reduce your maintenance costs. So actually, we know that sometimes it's not possible to be 100% standard, but it's actually wise to strike the balance between customizations and standards. So now I will let actually Toussaint talk about the plugin strategy, because I think that with your experience of a gold partner, you're the best to advise our audience on how to approach actually specific developments.
Thank you, Emily. So specific developments is of course needed, and it's an amazing tool to fulfill the needs of a business. But I have some advice as to on how to approach those specific developments. So first of all, as a user, don't ask directly, straightforward for specific development. You'd better focus on the need and challenge it with your teammates, with analysts. And then, for example, if you don't ask a developer to develop a new status on the invoice, for example, a send status, you'd better ask and express your need to professionals, so that they can understand what you really need. So, for example, here is the managing the sending of the invoices easily, and they can then analyze and find the best solution in Odoo. So this is really important, and I would go a little bit further. A specific development should never be the only alternative. There will be always an alternative to another alternative, even if it doesn't fulfill exactly the need, or if it's used or if it needs that the business process of the client a little bit adapts. I would say. So this is the first advice. The second advice I would give is to follow the standard logic of Odoo. This is really important. For instance, instead of using an existing field for a purpose, better to create a new fields. Okay, so for example, you want to add a birth date to a contact. Don't use a field on the contact form which is standard. Use another field. It's it's much better for transparency as well. Second example, you'd better create a new report than modifying an existing report. When I go on the accounting, for example, and I open the menu item general ledger, I want to see the general ledger, the standard one. If I see something else, it will be really bothering, and I wouldn't rely on this environment, and it's not going to match with the documentation, the standard documentation on Odoo's website and so on. So you'd better create a new menu item with a new report. Okay. So just you can see the image on the screen. You can imagine Odoo Enterprise as a sphere, and you will plug a new feature on that sphere, but it should never impact the way it is working inside the sphere. And when you don't need anymore this specific development, you can just remove it, unplug it, and continue working on your environment. The last one, I wrote be patient. I meant don't want everything at the first implementation. Make the effort to understand Odoo standard. Make the effort to use it before implementing nice-to-have features. You will see that if you do this, if you make this effort, you will reduce a lot the specific development you will do in the project. You will save a lot of money. This is by experience. When the users get used to Odoo standards, they find their way to fulfill a need, and this way wasn't clear at the beginning, but becomes clearer later on. So if you follow those advice, I think you will save a lot of money in specific development.
Thank you very much, Toussaint. Actually, now that we were talking about the deviation from Odoo's logic, Mark, it seems that actually in version 13 you actually deviated from this Odoo logic. Can you tell us more about it and actually the consequences of it?
Yes, well, unfortunately that's true. Yes, we didn't see Toussaint's slide when we were asking for a bit weird things 3 years ago. No, so yes, during the migration project or the upgrade project to version 13, and given the difficult circumstances we were in, we indeed asked for some very strange changes in the way Odoo was behaving that unfortunately broke into the internal logic of Odoo. And in the beginning we did not realize how serious that problem would become, but it's only at the moment that we decided to change our stock valuation method from standard cost to FIFO that we realized that FIFO was not working. Actually what we changed was that we wanted to have the possibility to validate a manufacturing order without Odoo actually consuming the raw material, which obviously makes no sense. I mean, I've never understood why some of our colleagues wanted to have that. But while doing that, but that means that your stock is not correct anymore, that the value of the finished goods is not correct, etc. And so we went in a lot of trouble with our accounting and controlling people, because they say, I mean, this does not work, FIFO is not correct. And so we tried to fix that, but because we broke really some of the very basic processes of Odoo, all the fixes we tried to put in place were not working well, and finally, I mean, it's only now with the V16 upgrade that we hope, well, that we will definitely fix that problem. So really deviating some from the internals of Odoo logic is not a good idea at all.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right, and also it's a good point, because when you are developing something, you are automating some operations that are not authorized by the interface. It can bring you in scenarios that are not covered in standard Odoo. So you are stuck in scenarios and you need to develop even more to get out of those scenarios, or change directly the database and so on, and this will lead maybe to compromised data. So just you can automate things that are doable in the interface in order to save time. That's a really good idea, but do not develop something you cannot do in the interface.
Yeah, true. So actually, now that we saw what went wrong, how did EasyIT now respond to this V16 upgrade request?
Yes, so it was a challenge. But first of all, we analyzed the specific code. And for each custom feature, we went back to the business requirement. For example, Realco needs to subcontract some of their production operations. They need to have to manage a stock at their subcontractors. Sometimes they supply the components, sometimes not. So this is, I would say, basic requirements. Of course, we went in more details with the customer, and then we think, okay, how can I fulfill this need in the V16? Okay, and I am impressed. In 70% of the cases, we could propose something. Okay, and we made a demo to the customer. And every time it leads to improvement in the process as well. So it's really a nice methodology. And at the end, we think we are going to reduce 50% of the specific code of Realco between the V13 and V16. So this is, of course, because the product has improved a lot. So we take this opportunity to take advantage of this new product to give simpler solution to the customer, but also because we re-challenge from the business requirement. Voilà. So and then if there is a change request during the discussion, if the customer asks for example, a new e-commerce, something like that, of course you need to focus on the essentials of the upgrade, because you need to upgrade as quick as possible. It's very important to be really focused on that, and everything you can postpone, just build a product backlog, and we will discuss it later after the termination of the upgrade project.
Okay, and now on more budget side, how do you manage the budgets of your clients efficiently? So what actually EasyIT have in place on the commercial for the commercial support of their clients?
Yes, so at EasyIT we have last year we have created a fixed price contract to maintain the solution and the performance of the solution of the customer. Okay, and that contract covers the user support, the bug fixing, the updates, and the upgrades, so that the customer doesn't have to worry about upgrades anymore. Okay, it's included. It's a fixed price. Basically, the customer has access to one upgrade every 2 or 3 years, depending on the contract. So, if the customer asks for a change request, we will at each time make a new offer that we will send to the customer that will be signed by the customer. So there will be no other cost than the fixed price contract without the customer signature. So that way the customer has a budget under control. This is a really great requirement you had, and the customer is assured the solution is maintained, and he can focus on improving and extending his use of Odoo.
Okay. Yeah, Mark, you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So because of the budget overruns we had with the V6 implementation and with the V13 upgrade, we were very cautious this time to have limits in place, and we discussed this approach of EasyIT, and I'm extremely happy with it because it gives us visibility into our budget over a 3-year period, because we signed for 3 years. That covers the upgrade, that covers all the support during the 3 years. So it's predictable, it goes fast, we do not discuss when there is a support request or whatever. So that's really a very smooth way to work together. And then it's also very clear what we ask extra. If we ask for a new feature, new development, a change request, well, then we know also what it costs, and that can be approved separately. So very nice. And one of the benefits of this approach is really to align the constraints and objectives of the partner, of the integrator and the client. And so it's a kind of virtuous cycle, and I must say so far it has worked extremely well for both of us, I think. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, and actually, yeah, you are a long-time customer. So where do you think actually Odoo could still improve, according to you? Don't go too much in details, please.
Do you have time? No, actually we're extremely pleased with the evolution of Odoo, and well, the demo and the announcement here of the V17 further reinforces, I mean, the fact that we're so happy to have made that choice 12 years ago. One of the areas where we still have quite some custom development is in the quality module. So we're in the chemical industry, well, assimilated to chemical industry. So we do very detailed quality controls on our products, and rather than a simple pass or fail control, we keep track of all the measures we do on our products, and all that is managed within Odoo and kept between the mixture we prepare to the different finished products that use the same mixture with tracking, of course, traceability, etc. So the quality module is certainly one that could be further improved. And then also with our main customers, we communicate through EDI, and it would be nice to have a deeper integration of the different EDI protocols. Was extremely pleased with the announcement that PayPal will be a standard feature in V17. But of course that focuses on the sending of invoices from the supplier to the client. We also accept the orders and send delivery notes through EDI. So that's also an area where I think could be interesting developments for the future.
Okay, thank you.
But that's
we take it in.
Nice to have. I mean, the base is already fantastic.
Thank you very much. Okay, now based on your experience, how would you recommend to our audience to approach Odoo software in an efficient way?
Well, I think the first thing, and that we have even applied more and more over the last years, is to realize that Odoo is really one of the main components of our IT systems, of our information systems. And so Odoo should be considered as an evolving platform, and all your IT roadmap and projects should be somehow linked to Odoo and the way Odoo evolves. An example of that, well, I have several examples, but one was that for 2 years now I've been under pressure to support the needs of our field technicians, so people who go in the field and help our customers fine-tune the way our hygiene products are used in the field, in production lines, etc., etc. And we do that still in the very old-fashioned, with papers of different colors, etc., that they sometimes forget in their truck, and that we forget to invoice, etc., etc. And so it's really important to bring that, to automate that somehow. But say, no, I do not want to do that in V13, because I know that in V16 there is a module called Field Services that will cover certainly 80 or 90% of our needs out of the box. And so I do not want to spend money now on V13 to cover those requirements, either with a specific development or even with another application besides Odoo, let's wait for the upgrade to V16 to start working on that aspect. And I have several examples like that. The e-commerce project that we have for more than 1 year is also on hold pending the upgrade to V16 because it makes no sense to start with something else. So Odoo is really structuring our whole IT roadmap. A second point is, and I think that was made already clear by all of us basically in this talk, Odoo is a fantastic platform to support custom developments. So it's extremely flexible, but still, because of all the good reasons that were explained before, we should be cautious with not having too many custom developments because they're costly to maintain and to upgrade each time you upgrade to a newer Odoo version. And then I would say the 2 to 3 year upgrade cycle that Odoo recommends makes a lot of sense. And before, well, until last week I would have said a 3-year cycle is fantastic because on year 1 you do the migration from the old to the new version, and then you have 2 years of time to run new projects, to bring new functionality into Odoo, to bring new users, to fine-tune your business process using Odoo. I mean, after the presentation of V17, I would say that a 2-year cycle is even better, so to benefit faster from the Odoo upgrades. And that's really that. So 1 year we focus on the upgrade, and the next year we bring more functionality to Odoo. So with the examples I just gave, well, 2024, so next year we will upgrade, we will focus on bringing our field technicians on Odoo. We will launch our web shop. There's a lot of other things we want to do with the e-learning module, with the knowledge base, which is also very interesting in V16. So that will keep us very busy for the whole year at least, and so we will migrate to V18 probably in 2025.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so I think it's time now for the conclusion. So I would say that the first biggest point of conclusion is, as explained before, to don't deviate from Odoo's logic and adhere to this logic. Then the second point is to follow Odoo's strategy, so and maintenance logic, because as you may know, at Odoo we set up a new version. We release a new version every year, and some of you can think, okay, this is maybe too much, but actually the goal of it is to reduce maintenance costs, because as we release new versions with new features, we want to respond to most of the industries, and so reduce actually your maintenance costs. So that is different actually from what our competition is doing. Then also the fact that Odoo is a structuring choice. Of course, it helps actually to structure your companies, to structure your workflows, and that is really important. And then, as Mark said it actually just before it, the scalability. So following Odoo's roadmap will help to give to your company a real competitive advantage, because you will be up to date with the new trends of the market. So it's really important. And now I'll just take 1 minute really to give a big thank you to Mark, to our client and trustable client who is at Odoo since a long time.
Thank you to you both as well.
And thank you to Easy IT, our gold partner and really good partner. So thank you very much, and thank you for the presentation.
Emily, thank you.
Thank you for your support.
So I'm gonna check on the pad if you have questions. Oops.
Anybody has a question?
Regardez sur le pad.
You are looking on the pad as well.
Sorry. I'm attached.
Okay.
I don't see. Hmm? Ouais. Je crois qu'il y en ait. There is no question?
Was all clear?
Does someone has a question, or because there is no question on the...
Monsieur.
Ça, tu peux peut-être aller près de Seb.
Sébastien, ouais.
Hello, Mark. So you migrated from V6 to the V13 like 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago. What is for you the main difference between the migration between V6 to the V13 compared to the migration of V13 to the V16?
I think the main difference is for the users. The gap between 6 and 13 was huge and the interface was totally different. So the retraining was quite important for the users. Of course also the feature gap was enormous. So we see now the V13 to V16 migration as quite smooth, and we see from the reactions, the early reactions from the key users, and that who will also be the one testing the V16 from next week. They're quite comfortable, and then they find their way through V16 very quickly. So, and that's also an additional reason to migrate maybe at a faster pace, because the incremental changes are smaller. Yeah, very good one.
Yeah, there is a question on the pad. What's the best way to stay informed about the roadmap, so the next Odoo version?
Aha. Coming to Odoo Experience Day?
Yeah, I would say.
Of course. No. Well, the website of Odoo has extensive information about the new version. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to find its way. I mean, there is so much in the YouTube channel. You find a lot of things.
Through the partner also?
Through the partners, of course. I mean, we often discuss new features and say, okay, our sales people came with that idea. How can we do that in Odoo or in the next version of Odoo that we will have? So so the partner, the website. I like the YouTube channel. There is a lot to find there.
There is also a release notes for each version.
Yeah.
So if you are in the older version, you can check the release notes of the new versions and see what are the new functionalities.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a third question. Did you start it from scratch or upgraded via Odoo?
So with the implementation of V6, we really started from scratch. So that we really just try to recuperate the data from our customers and from our products, but that was it. The V6 to V13, it was kind of a mixed approach. So we tried to migrate as much as data as possible, but the versions were so different that in terms of processes, we almost started from scratch. So that was really a very mixed approach. And this time now, from V13 to V16, is mainly migration. So that's quite easy. And I must say, it's not because you're there, Emily, but Odoo does a great job at migrating the database and does it really fast now. So that also facilitates the different steps in our testing, etc. So which is a fantastic support and makes us very comfortable as users that the investments we have made will continue in the future. So that's a very important point for us.
Okay.
This maintenance and support from Odoo directly as well.
Okay, thank you.
As a partner, we witnessed also that that Odoo improved a lot the migration script. I remember during the V6, V13 migration, it was not certain we will succeed with the database
But you did
script.
it. You did it.
We did it at the end.
Together.
So, but we had to follow two different paths. So the complete a restart from scratch in version 13, and a standard migration of the database with the script of Odoo, and finally, which is much more efficient because you keep all the data, and so finally it works. But it was quite stressful. And now in version 16, we got a test environment with all the data migrated very quickly. So thanks to also to our amazing developers, but it was more easy.
Okay. There is no other question on the pad. There is just a note. Really nice presentation. So thank you for the person who said it.
Thank you to you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.